When we talk about aging, we often focus on what we lose. But what if we started with what we can still gain? Aging doesn't mean fading. It means unfolding. A slow, beautiful unraveling of all that we've experienced. And the first chapter of a fulfilling life in old age begins with one word: awareness. Not just of time passing, but of what still matters. Of what's still possible. Of what's worth paying attention to. Because with awareness comes clarity. And with clarity, comes intention. Without awareness, years pass in a blur. But with it, even simple moments feel full. This first chapter isn't about doing more. It's about noticing more. The warmth of the morning light on your skin. The sound of wind through the trees. The calm of a quiet afternoon. Awareness helps us find joy in the ordinary. It reminds us that we don't have to chase life. We can meet it where we are. And in doing so, we start to feel grounded again. Less rushed. Less scattered. More alive. Think of awareness as the foundation beneath all the other chapters. Without it, we drift. With it, we anchor. Some people wait until illness wakes them up. Others need loss to see clearly. But we don't have to wait. We can choose to wake up now. To be more present. More grateful. More alive to the life we still have. Because even if your body slows down, your awareness can stay sharp. Even if routines change, your presence can remain deep. And that changes everything. So before we talk about strength, or connection, or purpose, we begin here. With the gentle act of paying attention. Noticing where your thoughts go. What brings you peace? What drains you? What gives you joy? It's a practice. And like all practices, it grows. The more we tune in, the more life gives back. Not in things or achievements, but in meaning. So let this first chapter begin not with doing, but with seeing. Let it begin not with striving, but with being. Because awareness isn't just the first step. It's the quiet guide that walks with us all the way home. After awareness comes something just as vital: flexibility. Not just in your body, but in your thinking, in how you adapt to change. Because aging is full of changes. In routines, in relationships, and in what your body can or can't do anymore. And when we resist change, we suffer. But when we stay flexible, we bend, we don't break. Flexibility doesn't mean giving up. It means shifting, adjusting, relearning how to move, how to think, how to live, without fear. In your body, it starts small: a daily stretch, a slow walk, a gentle movement that reminds your muscles, you're still here. You're still capable. And in your mind, it means staying curious. It means not clinging to how things used to be, but meeting today for what it is. Flexibility means you can keep growing, even when the world moves differently around you. You can learn something new, try a different path, or say, I don't know, but I'm open. And that keeps your mind alive. Because the people who stay rigid, in body or in thought, often feel the world closing in. But those who stay open keep discovering, keep participating. They don't become smaller with age, they expand. Flexibility is not about being perfect. It's about being available to life, even when it surprises you, even when it challenges you. So take time today to stretch a little, to think a little differently, to let go of something that no longer fits. Because the more flexible you are, the more space life has to move through you. And in that space, you find new ways to live, to connect, to thrive. Not despite aging, but because of it. There will be days when everything feels heavy. When your body aches in places it didn't before. When people you love feel further away. When the world moves too fast, and you feel left behind. These are the moments that test us. Not in loud, dramatic ways. But in quiet, persistent ones. And what carries us through is not strength alone. It's resilience. Resilience is not about pushing through everything with a smile. It's about knowing how to bend without breaking. How to rest without quitting. How to trust that what hurts today won't last forever. Sometimes resilience looks like getting out of bed when you don't feel like it. Sometimes it's making tea, opening the window, and letting in the light, even when you feel numb. Sometimes it's reaching out when pride tells you not to. It's forgiving someone who never said sorry. It's forgiving yourself, too. Resilience isn't loud. It doesn't always look brave. But it's there, underneath the surface, holding you up. Every time you keep going, even when it's hard, that's resilience. Every time you choose peace over anger, that's resilience. Every time you say, I'll try again tomorrow, that's resilience. We don't build resilience overnight. We build it one small choice at a time. One breath. One moment. One gentle reminder that you've made it through before, and you can again. Resilience is not about being unshakable. It's about remembering you've shaken before and still stood. It's about knowing you are not what you lost. You are what you kept going for. And every scar is a story that says, I'm still here. So if today is hard, don't force yourself to be strong. Just be willing to stay with it. To keep breathing. To take the next step, even if it's small. Because resilience isn't the absence of struggle. It's the quiet courage to walk through it. We were never meant to do life alone. From the moment we're born, we reach out. For touch. For presence. For someone to say, I see you. You matter. That need doesn't disappear as we get older. In fact, it becomes even more important. Because as time passes, some connections fade. People move. People change. Some people leave. And if we're not careful, we start to believe we're meant to be alone. But connection isn't about how many people surround you. It's about the quality of the bonds you choose to keep. One good friend. One honest conversation. One moment of shared laughter. That's enough to remind you, you still belong. You still matter. We don't always need answers. Sometimes, we just need someone to sit with us in silence. To say, you don't have to carry this alone. Connection is how we stay human. How we stay soft in a world that tries to harden us. It reminds us that we are still part of something. That we are not the only ones who forget, who ache, who fear. And when we open ourselves to others, even a little, we create space for healing. For understanding. For warmth to return. Reach out today. Even if it feels awkward. Even if it's been a while. Send the message. Make the call. Sit next to someone and say nothing, but be there. Because every time you choose connection over isolation, you rebuild the thread that holds us all together. And maybe, just maybe, that thread is strong enough to carry you through whatever comes next. There's something inside each of us that asks, why am I here? Not just in the big, philosophical sense. But in the quiet, personal way. What makes you get out of bed in the morning? What gives your day meaning? For some, it's family. For others, it's creating, helping, learning, or simply being present. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't need applause. Sometimes it's watering your plants. Sometimes it's calling your grandson. Sometimes it's writing down a memory so it won't be lost. Purpose is not a destination. It's something you carry with you. And it shifts as life changes. What mattered at 30 may not matter now. And that's okay. The question isn't, what did I use to live for? The question is, what matters to me today? Even small actions have power when they come from intention. Making a meal. Sending a kind message. Sitting with someone who needs company. These things may seem small. But they are full of purpose. Because purpose is not just about doing. It's about being in service, to yourself, to others, to life. And when we lose touch with that, we start to drift. We feel empty, even if we're busy. We feel alone, even if we're surrounded. But when we reconnect with purpose, something changes. We feel grounded again. We feel needed again. We remember that our presence matters. That our voice still matters. So ask yourself today, what can I give? What can I build? What still lights something inside me? No one can answer that for you. But the search itself is a kind of purpose. To keep asking. To keep showing up. To keep living with meaning, whatever that means to you. That is purpose. And it is never too late to find it again. Everyone carries something. A regret. A loss. A memory that still stings when no one is looking. We like to think time heals all wounds. But time only moves forward. Healing, real healing, takes something more. It takes attention. It takes softness. It takes the willingness to stop running and finally turn around. To face the pain we buried. To speak the truth we've been quiet about. Healing isn't about erasing the past. It's about making peace with it. It's about saying, that happened. And I'm still here. You don't have to relive every moment. You don't have to fix everything. But you do have to stop pretending it didn't shape you. Because it did. And strangely enough, that's okay. The broken places are where the light gets in. The hurt you felt is also the proof you've loved deeply. You've tried. You've hoped. And yes, you've hurt. But the fact that you're still open to healing means you haven't given up on yourself. And that's beautiful. Healing is not a one-time event. It's a quiet, daily choice. To forgive a little. To release a little. To breathe a little deeper. To hold yourself with more kindness than you used to. Some days will feel lighter. Others will feel heavy again. But over time, the edges soften. The weight shifts. And one day, without even realizing it, you wake up and notice that it doesn't hurt the same way anymore. That you can remember without breaking. That you can talk about it without crying. That you can live without carrying it all. This is healing. It's slow. It's quiet. But it's real. And you are allowed to have it. There is always something missing. Something we used to have. Someone we used to hold. A time we wish we could go back to. And it's easy to focus on the empty space. But sometimes, healing begins when we turn our eyes to what's still here. Not because life is perfect. Not because we should pretend. But because gratitude changes how we carry what's hard. It doesn't erase the pain. But it adds balance. It reminds us that not all is lost. That something good still exists. Gratitude is not about being cheerful all the time. It's about noticing the quiet gifts that remain. The way sunlight spills across the table. The sound of birds outside your window. The memory that makes you smile before it makes you cry. Gratitude is the pause that says, yes, this moment is enough. It doesn't take away the hard parts. But it softens them. It gives you room to breathe. To remember that joy and sorrow can live side by side. That your heart can hold both. And still beat with hope. Start small. Say thank you for your breath. Thank you for your feet. Thank you for the food in your hands. For the person who called. For the quiet afternoon. Gratitude grows where we water it. And the more we practice, the more we see. Not because more arrives, but because we become more able to see what was always there. Even in grief, we can be grateful for love. Even in aging, we can be grateful for time. Even in uncertainty, we can be grateful for the present moment. Because this moment, this one, right here, is real. And if we meet it with thanks, we just might find peace in it. There comes a time when fighting life becomes too heavy. When trying to fix, to change, to hold on, only wears us down. That's when acceptance becomes a kind of freedom. Not the same as giving up. But finally saying, this is where I am. And it's okay. Acceptance is not passive. It's powerful. It's choosing to meet life as it is, without judgment. Not waiting for perfect conditions to feel at peace. But finding peace even in the mess. Even in the ache. Even in the unknown. There are things we cannot change. What was said. What was lost. What could have been. But there is so much we still can choose. How we show up today. How we speak to ourselves. How we hold others gently. Acceptance is giving yourself permission to stop the war inside. To stop wishing you were somewhere else, someone else, some other version of life. And to begin making peace with this version. The one that breathes. The one that wakes up again today. The one that still holds beauty, even in the cracks. When we resist what is, we suffer twice. But when we accept, we create space for softness. For healing. For quiet strength to grow. Look around. This is your life, not the one you dreamed, maybe. But the one you have. And it is worthy of your presence. Your love. Your attention. You are allowed to stop trying to fix everything. You are allowed to rest in what is. To take a breath. To say, this is enough. Because when you stop resisting the present, you begin to really live in it. And that's where life can meet you again. After the healing. After the letting go. After the quiet work of acceptance. There is room for something soft to return. Joy. Not the loud kind. Not the kind that demands attention. But the quiet kind. The kind that arrives in the smallest places. A warm cup of tea. A favorite song from years ago. The way the sun hits the wall in the late afternoon. This kind of joy doesn't need permission. It just needs space. And often, we forget to make space for it. We think joy belongs only to the young. To the strong. To the ones whose lives are still rising. But joy belongs to all of us. At any age. In any body. In any chapter. It lives in your senses. In your breath. In your memory. It lives in noticing something beautiful and letting yourself smile. Joy is a kind of resistance. A way of saying, even now, I choose to feel. It's the opposite of shutting down. It's staying open. Even when life has been hard. Even when not everything is fixed. Joy says, there is still light here. And you don't have to earn it. You just have to welcome it. Let yourself laugh at something silly. Let yourself sing, even off-key. Let yourself be delighted by something small. Because these moments matter. They remind us that we are still alive. That we are still capable of feeling. And that even with all we've been through, there is joy left to live. Joy is not a reward. It's a return. Back to yourself. Back to the present. Back to the light. So here we are. At the end of this path. Or maybe the beginning of a new one. Because endings are rarely just that. They are doors. They are mirrors. They are quiet invitations to live differently. And maybe you've listened to all of this and thought, but my story is already written. It's not. Not completely. Every breath is a new page. Every choice is a small turning. And no matter how long you've walked this life, there is still room for something new. New laughter. New softness. New meaning. No one's asking you to be someone else. Only to return to who you've always been. To the part of you that still hopes. Still feels. Still wants to love and be loved. You are not too late. You are not behind. You are right on time for yourself. Whatever came before this moment, it's not the whole story. It shaped you. But it doesn't define you. Because the beautiful truth is this: you get to decide how the rest unfolds. With tenderness. With courage. With quiet joy. Let yourself keep growing. Keep softening. Keep noticing the beauty that's still here. Because it is still here. And so are you. Still becoming. Still breathing. Still becoming more of who you are. This is not the end. It's just another beginning. And you are ready.